Indah berbalam si awan petang, berarak di celah pepohon ara. Pemanis kalam selamat datang, awal bismillah pembuka bicara. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam UiTM di hatiku. Yang dihormati Dr. Azhar bin Abdul Aziz, penasihat program webinar Digital Wars, The Rise in Education. Yang berbahagia Dr. Azlan bin Abdul Aziz, penceramah jemputan webinar Digital Wars, The Rise in Education. Yang dikasihi Div-Div jemputan, barisan pensyarah, ahli jawatan kuasa program serta hadirin sekalian.
Pergi berhumah di Tanjung Rokan, sebelum pulang mengail ikan. Kehadiran tuan-puan kami alu-alukan, kecil tapak tangan niru kami tadahkan. Selamat datang ke program Ethics for Digital Society Webinar 2021 Digital Wars, The Rise in Education. Ribuan terima kasih diucapkan kepada para hadirin kerana sudi meluangkan masa menghadirkan diri ke majlis kami pada hari ini. Buat pengetahuan hadirin sekalian, program ini merupakan anjuran daripada pelajar semester 4 jurusan Pendidikan Sains dan Matematik Fakulti Pendidikan UiTM Kampus Puncak Alam, Selangor. Tujuan program ini dilaksanakan adalah untuk memberi kesedaran kepada orang ramai mengenai etika dalam penggunaan teknologi.
Rasa meminang sama berpantun, dijaga adat tidakkan punah. Sama bertandang, sama berhimpun, semoga berkat dimulai bismillah. Hadirin sekalian, bagi memberkati program kita pada hari ini, marilah kita sama-sama menadah tangan mengaminkan bacaan doa yang akan dibacakan oleh Saudara Muhammad Abdul Ashraf bin Jamalhuri. Dipersilakan.
A'udzubillahiminasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma innaka khallaqul azim, innaka sami'un alim, innaka ghafurur rahim. Innaka rabbul arshil azim, innaka barul jawadul karim. Segala puji bagi Allah Tuhan sekalian alam. Selawat dan salam kepada Nabi Muhammad SAW dan para sahabatnya. Allahumma ya Allah, pada hari yang berkat ini, sempena program seminar etika untuk masyarakat digital, kami menadah tangan dan bersyukur kehadrat-Mu di atas nikmat limpah kurniamu ke atas kami. Jadikanlah majlis kami ini majlis yang Engkau redai dan berkati. Ya Latifu Ya Rahman, lah kami taufik dan hidayah-Mu. Jadi kami orang-orang yang bertakwa sentiasa mematuhi perintah-Mu dan menjauhi larangan-Mu. Ya Munzilal Barakah, jadikanlah bumi bertuah ini. Jayakanlah segala usaha yang kami anjurkan untuk mempelajari ilmu-Mu yang serba luas ini. Mudah-mudahan segala ilmu yang diperoleh memberi manfaat sepanjang zaman. Rabbana alaika tawakkalna wa ilaika anabna wa ilaikal masir. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Majlis merakamkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada Saudara Muhammad Amirul Ashraf bin Jamalhuri atas bacaan doa sebentar tadi. Semoga program ini mendapat keberkatan dan kelancaran dengan izinnya.
Seterusnya, majlis dengan segala hormatnya menjemput dan mempersilakan Yang dihormati Dr. Azhar bin Abdul Aziz, pensyarah kursus Ethics for Digital Society UiTM Shah Alam merangkap penasihat program webinar Digital Wars, The Rise in Education untuk menyampaikan sepatah dua kata. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Terima kasih ya kepada our MC, which is Cik Amira Nazatul Syahira and also Cik Nurul Amira. These two Amiras in the class. And first and foremost, I welcome our speaker of the day, Dr. Azlan Aziz, who's a very close friend of mine. Our friendship went back in the 90s apabila kami masing-masing dah graduate dan mula cari kerja. We all started in the same place. And for your information, how saya nak bagi sikit lah kata-kata luarnya, just to thank him and also reminiscence the time of us being back together as fresh graduates. We started our career together in a college, and then we did our masters together. A bunch of us went up for our masters in UKM together. He started as a lecturer in TESOL, and then he took up he's brave enough to start his career in masters in IT. That we went for the program together, and he switched his career from an English teacher and to a very I'm going to say top-notch IT lecturer, very popular in our college in those days. And then both of us, along with several other PTPN lecturers, we came to UiTM. We served UiTM, and then Dr. Azlan was fortunate enough to join the team in Ireland. And then, unfortunately for us, he had to be transferred to Melaka, Jasin. Masa Jasin baru buka. So there, he did his PhD in UPSI, and he graduated, and now he's serving as a lecturer in Jasin. And also, until today lah, he is still a friend walaupun jarak jauh, tapi kami masih berkawan. Dan juga when I was looking for a candidate to share with you about the fusion of IT and also with the background of education, there's no one else that come to my mind. Memang Dr. Azlan is the right person, and you can see banyak tema-tema dia hari ni banyak pasal Star Wars. That shows that his keenness and his how obsessed he is with Star Wars and the Jedis and the Yodas and whatever. So without further ado, let us give a warm welcome to Dr. Azlan Abdul Aziz, and thank you for being our speaker of the day. So Dr. Azlan, thank you so much for joining, and welcome to our class, virtual class. So back to you, Amira, both Amiras.
Majlis mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih kepada Yang Dihormati Dr. Azhar bin Abdul Aziz atas ucapan beliau sebentar tadi.
Awan bersua citra berkisah, ukiran sukma kilauan kelisa. Bingkisan perutusan selesai sudah, ceramah seminar menyusul pula. Sebelum kita menjemput panel jemputan kita, marilah kita sama-sama menyaksikan tayangan teaser webinar Digital Wars, The Rise in Education.
Majlis kini diteruskan lagi dengan ceramah yang akan disampaikan oleh penceramah jemputan Dr. Azlan bin Abdul Aziz yang bertajuk Digital Wars, The Rise in Education. Buat pengetahuan hadirin sekalian, beliau merupakan pemegang ijazah kedoktoran dalam bidang pendidikan multimedia lulusan dari Universiti Pendidikan Sultan Idris. Kini beliau berkhidmat sebagai pensyarah kanan Fakulti Sains Komputer dan Matematik UiTM Jasin, Melaka. Untuk makluman, sekiranya para hadirin mempunyai sebarang persoalan untuk diajukan sepanjang ceramah berlangsung, sila ajukan soalan anda di link yang disediakan di ruangan chat. Para hadirin juga diingatkan untuk sentiasa menjaga tutur kata semasa mengajukan soalan. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Nurul Amira. Thank you, Amira Nazato. Thank you, Amirul Jamanhuri. All right, and thank you, my brother in arms. All right, Dr. Abdul Aziz, for this wonderful opportunity to share whatever little knowledge I have that I have gathered within the 24 years in the education industry. I cannot say I'm an expert in this, but whatever knowledge or whatever information that I have, inshallah, I will share with you in this session. I would like to hats off to the person who, I mean, maybe the organizing team for their tremendous effort in preparing the teaser, preparing the poster, preparing the backdrop and everything. All right, truly heightens up and excites me in the mood of Star Wars. Right, thank you very much. All right, let me before that, let me just share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen now? I'm sharing my screen.
Can, sir, can.
All right. Okay. Don't worry, even though it's meant for 2 hours, but I don't think we would have the strength to go through the 2 hours online, right? So we just have to make do with what we have. I mean, in terms of the time. So the title for the talk is Digital Wars. Since I'm an avid Star Wars fan, so I took the liberty of using that kind of title, all right, The Rise of Education. So we are here today based on the information that I received previously. We are here today to look into what is happening around the globe, as well as to the local scene in Malaysia regarding the digital scenario, okay, that is occurring, or that is rather affecting and impacting the education industry today, or the education domain today. We will be looking into how shall I say this? Not to say the negative aspects, but the digital divide or the gaps that is occurring or that is happening, okay, and what are we currently experiencing, as well as what can we do, right? I think I shall not be doing the slideshow, but rather sharing like this instead. Is it okay? Is it okay if I were to share it like this? Because I need to see the other part of, okay, thank you very much. Okay, feel free to pop any questions either during the presentation itself or later on after we, towards the end of the presentation, or after we complete the presentation itself, right? Okay, these are the things, or these are the points, the key points that we are going to look into today, or I will talking about today. The first one is education around the globe, what is happening, all right? And then the 21st century education, regarding the various facets of 21st century education, involving the skills that are needed, the schools scenario, the curriculum, the learner, the teacher, the classroom, and the learning, right? And then followed by digital citizenship, because we cannot avoid from talking about digital citizenship in the current scenario, okay, involving 9 themes. These are the important themes that every person towards becoming a digital citizen, okay, these are the 9 themes that they need to know, and not only that they need to be aware of, but they need to abide by, right? And then we shall be looking into digital gap and digital divide issues, either on the world scenario or world platform, as well as Malaysia. Okay. All right. I believe that I have provided with the organizer with a short video. I mean, not really short video, but 3 to 4 minutes. Is it possible for the organizer to play that video first?
Boleh, Doktor?
Boleh, eh? Thank you very much. Who is actually handling this? Daniel.
Ya, saya.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. So I stop sharing for you to share that first.
Right.
Boleh, eh? Okay, thank you. Tak apa, jangan formal Saya bukan apa ni? Protokol sangat.
As the world we live in changes to embrace tech futures, how and what we teach in our education system will also be reshaped to keep up to date with the growing demands of the 21st century. Let's take a look at the future of learning and teaching. 1. Connectedness, collaboration and co-creation. The concept of a teacher standing in front of a room full of students who listen and respond to direction is increasingly a thing of the past. While not an entirely new approach, student learning spaces will supersede the typical classroom that we know today. This will see students become partners or co-creators of their own learning. Experiences that allow collaboration, communication and teamwork for all students often happen beyond classroom walls. We need to facilitate for these experiences in context, and our classrooms need to be a reflection of this. They will be set up to allow collaboration to occur on learning projects between individuals, small groups or larger groups. Classrooms will coexist as physical spaces and online, flipping the current learning model upside down so that students can learn at home and spend class time collaborating and applying their knowledge to real-life issues. 2. Anywhere, anytime learning. As we ride the wave of the digital era, it is becoming easier to get connected with a global reach. A world of information is at your fingertips with the click of a button or a simple voice command, and, as technology continues to advance, students need to grow their learning with it. Technology is no longer a motivating factor when it comes to learning, it is a must. It's something that needs to be incorporated in the future of education to ensure students are equipped with the skills to cope in a world dependent on technology. While some argue that technology in our classrooms creates lazy, disconnected students, we believe this is a myth. Technology has created endless boundaries of where learning can occur, with whom and why. The reality is, classrooms can be anywhere anytime. Students can be working on projects in virtual contexts with other students from around the world at any given moment. Technological advances have enabled interconnectedness of information and people with the touch of a button. Education in the future will need to demonstrate how technology can be used to students' advantage, as well as teach future generations how to handle problems that arise from it. Technology can change learning forever and we need to embrace it and manipulate it to our advantage. 3. Customization for a learner-first approach. Alongside our changing notions of what constitutes a classroom, our ideas about the way teaching is delivered must also be reshaped. Most professions treat each individual's case differently. Each patient of a doctor has individualized treatment plans. Education should be no different. The old one model of teaching and learning fits all is outdated and has no place in the agenda for future education. Teachers will become facilitators of learning and students will have more control of their own learning journey. In the past, all children did the same work regardless of ability or skills. We now know that this contributes to disengagement, misbehavior and poor outcomes. As a result, teachers will have individualized learning plans for students, which will enable each student to learn at a pace that best suits their abilities and to engage with content that is most beneficial to them. A combination of evidence gathering and feedback from parents, students and other professions will enable these plans to be successfully integrated into the education system. To maximize the potential for individual progress, some elements of teacher-led learning will remain, which will augment traditional learning practices when combined with online digital media. 4. Putting testing to the test. What are we testing for? Students today are heavily focused on the end result, achieving that high ATAR score, receiving a distinction in class, acing those tests. Education of the future will prove what you have been told many times before: results do not define you. We believe that testing on its own can be a dangerous approach. Grading is a waste of time if its purpose is solely to point out who is at the top and who is at the bottom. Assessments in the future will be evidence-based, using measures that allow learning plans to be drawn up and personalized. The big question is, why are we grading and for whom? Surely we want a society in which everyone is able to do the job and elements of it competently. Do exams really prepare us for this future? Educators of the future. Curriculum teaching educators of the future, beyond the classroom and will continue to do so, and as education changes to suit the future's needs, the role of a teacher must also adapt and grow. It is each teacher's responsibility to empower students to take risks, be innovative and seize any opportunity thrown their way. In light of a shift towards a more personalized learner experience, teachers of the future must be prepared to be data collectors, as well as analysts, planners, collaborators, curriculum experts, synthesizers, problem solvers and researchers. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave comment below.
Right, thank you, Daniel. Okay, that 5 minutes video has shown you and share with you a lot of information regarding the topic of the day, right? And from that 5 minutes alone, you can see how what can we expect in the future, what needs to be done, or what is to be expected and what needs to be done, and how we need to change or provide or maybe perhaps a paradigm shift to how we handle classes, to how we go through our education, right? To how to use technology and whatnot, all right? Okay, according to one of the famous writer of the day, Alvin Toffler. Have you heard of him before? Alvin Toffler says that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay. Another one is change is not merely necessary to life, but it is life itself. And you've got to think about big things while you are doing small things, so that all the small things go in the right direction. One would ask oneself, I mean, you yourself would ask whether I'm as a student, as an undergraduate student, or I'm going to be a graduate with a specific field. Okay, how can I perform to impact the education scenario? How can I perform? Let's say you are going to be a maths teacher, for example, or a science teacher at that. So what can we do in order to impact the students, to nurture him or her for his or her future, not for our future, but for his or her future? Okay, they are going to be in the era, in the world, in the future that is not meant for us. It's meant for them, right? So we need to prepare them for that. Let's take a look at the education that is happening around the globe. From the video itself, all right, you can see that successful education systems have some similar traits, similar features. For example, it has to be student-centered, it has to be individually tailored, it has to be self-directed, and it has to be collaborative. Okay, meaning to say that, I mean, as the adage goes, 2 heads are better than 1. 3 heads are better than 1, if there is such an adage, right? But 2 heads are better than 1. Meaning to say that through collaboration, you might achieve more than what you can achieve alone. However, during certain times, you have to have that time for yourself, for you to grow, room for yourself to grow, to study, to fulfill whatever that you are searching for, to look for something that is on your own requirement or the things that you need personally. So that's why it has to be, the learning has to be student-centered and individually tailored and self-directed. The students must be able, I mean, the learner himself must be able to feel that, oh, I need this, so I'm going to go out and search for it. Okay? It has to be through the use of social media or digital technology. Okay? Because currently, that is the enabler and that is the driver. You cannot do without technology. In our scenario, in our surrounding, we have to have technology. We have to be involved and interact with technology, whether we like it or not. It could be as simple as your digital watch, closer to you. right? Using your iWatch, using your Me Watch, for example, to check on your breathing, to check on your heart rate, to check on your blood pressure and whatnot. Okay. Networks are essential to level the playing field for all. It's important for the devices, the management, the content creation must be in a network scenario. Because if it's in isolation, it will not benefit the rest of the world, right? Leading by influence example is essential. Not only the learner, but the educator, the academician, the teacher, okay, must show very good example, must set a good influence, must promote the positive things, right? And productivity, to come up with content. Since nowadays everybody is familiar with social media, everybody is maybe updating your Instagram, updating your Twitter, updating your Facebook, if you are still on Facebook, right? I believe that the younger generations are not keen onto Facebook, but rather on TikTok, on what do you call that? WeChat, on Snapchat, on Instagram, right? And some students might say that whoever are on Facebook, they are very old. They have that notion. Is that it? Betul tak? Betul ke macam tu? Adakah yang merasakan sedemikian? Yes. Okay, to shed some light on that. Bukannya yang ada guna FB ni dah apa orang tua saja yang minat FB. Tak, it's not that. You have to understand the origin, the history of Facebook. Facebook has been around. No, I'm not saying that you are old. Okay. Apa ni? Age is just a number, Dr. Azhar, kan? Okay, dia macam ni sebenarnya. Facebook has been around for quite some time. Betul tak? Facebook dah ada since 2001. Jadi, the users at that time were young. So, bila sekarang ni nampak macam dia dah tua lah. Oh, macam orang tua je yang guna Facebook kan? Kesian lah kan? Okay, I'm still on Facebook as well. I also use Instagram. But I'm not on Twitter. Okay, I'm not on TikTok, WeChat, Snapchat. Kenapa? Sebab ada reason lah. Okay, reason dia ialah even though I need to be savvy on the internet, even though I need to be savvy with technology, I need to be technology literate. Okay, I choose which technology that works best for me, rather than to utilize each and every new technology that comes your way. Alright, when you use technology, you must have a purpose. Right, so when you come up with your productivity content, you must serve a purpose. Bukannya macam turning the Facebook or turning the Instagram or WeChat or TikTok into an updates of your everyday event, of your daily life event. Bukanlah. Okay, and the education around the globe, satu lagi, the significant or the important characteristics of future is data-centered. We are living in a world where there is there is an abundance of data. Okay, the abundance of data that can be used if collected properly, and that can be used if analyzed properly, that can be used to perform or to influence some positive decision making. Okay, so our education system today must work beyond boundaries to involve all groups that influence learning, not only on the learners, but on the partners, parents, and the local community, including the ministry, all right, in order for it to be effective. Okay, what is to be expected of a global teacher, a teacher in the 21st century? Most of you are going to be teachers. I mean, the direction is there. Am I right? Betul lah, Amirul? Amirul, betul tak Amirul? Going to be maths teachers? Betul eh? Okay, all right. So the expectation on this is a teacher is competent. The teacher must have enough skills, ada appropriate attitude, ada universal values, understand how the world is interconnected with rich variety of life. Okay, understand the different cultures. Okay, able to teach or educate with the time-tested and modern technologies together in education. Okay, facilitate digitally mediated learning. You tak boleh move away from technology. You cannot move away from the digital approach of teaching. Tak boleh. Kena ada. Okay, paling tidak pun, paling simple, you akan gunakan apa? You akan gunakan PowerPoint to do your presentation. Okay, you are going to use WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal or whatever means of communicating with your group of students. You set up a group for your students in order for you to easily communicate with them. Betul kan? So you cannot do away with technology. You kena juga guna. A global teacher must think, act with local and global perspectives. Dia kena tahulah apa senario sekarang, apa senario akan datang, ataupun senario di peringkat global, right? To be creative and innovative. Some people question me when I say that you have to be creative. What do you mean by creative? I'm not creative, sir. How am I supposed to be creative? Can you inject with a dose of creativity? No. Actually, you are creative. Cuma different level, and the way you define creativity also differs from one person to another. For example, Nur Ainun lah, saya tanya Nur Ainun. Tiba Nur Ainun macam gabra kan, terperanjat. Nur Ainun, relax. Saya tak suka apa talk yang macam formal protokol sangat. Saya tak suka. Saya suka relax, tenang. Okay? Nur Ainun dah hilang dah. Okay, for example, when you wake up this morning, okay, or when you prepare for this particular seminar, for this particular session, this particular talk, did you decide on what clothes to wear? Did you decide on what? Yes, correct. Did you decide on which tudung, which headgear to wear that suits or that goes well with your baju ataupun you punya baju kurung ke whatever lah, okay, your t-shirt ke? Did you decide on that? Which one is practical? Which one is comfortable? Which one is sesuai atau tidak? You fikir kan?
Fikir.
Untuk apa? Untuk apa tu?
Untuk personality appropriate.
Yes, appropriateness. Whether you are presenting or you properly present yourself, betul kan? Itu kreatif lah tu. Itu kreatif lah tu. Okay. Cuma the difference is in the level of creativity and how you define creativity. It doesn't mean that when you could draw very well, when you could design very well, that is creative. No. Creative comes in various and multiple forms. Right? If you happens to be a future maths educator, when you can design your module, or when you can design the kind of activity that involves collaborative work among your students, that is creative enough. That is creativity. Okay? Respect and tolerance of diversity of cultures with good communication skills. So these are some of the features or traits of a global teachers. Okay? Okay, that is education around the globe with the global teacher model. Let's take a look at the 21st century education. Okay, let's take a look at the skills. It is bold. The 21st century education is bold, flexible, creative, challenging, and complex. Why complex? Why challenging? Because you have heard of so many scenarios. You have been introduced to so many tools, so many technologies. You have been introduced with so many terminologies of 21st century. Okay, you have been either bogged down or you have been caught up unexpectedly with the scenario of 21st century. And you question yourself, can I live in the 21st century? Can I perform in the 21st century? Do I have the necessary skills to live or to wade through, to maneuver the 21st century? Do I have the necessary skills to live up to my my job? Okay? Benda-benda macam tu lah kan? Betul tak? You akan tertanya-tanya kan? Betul ke? Boleh ke? Alamak, pening kepala ni, berpeluh ketiak ni. Kan? Kan? Butterflies in my stomach and what not. Don't worry. Why? Because you do not really have to have the high level of everything, the high level of each and every skills. You do not have to be at the top of your game for every skills. No. Sometimes you can use a different skill to cover up for the skills that you are lack of. Okay, don't worry. But as long as you have all this, it will be good enough for you to handle the 21st century education with the necessary level of skills. What kind of skills that you look into? Collaboration, the ability to work in teams. So if you become an educator or academician, or you become a learner yourself, you have to have that kind of collaboration skills. To what level? Tak adalah bila you collaborate with your team members, you tengking-tengking, you tinggi suara, tak ada kan? You know how to maneuver, you know how to collaborate, you know how to discuss, right? You don't let your friends do all the work. Tak ada kan? So collaborative lah tu. Okay? Critical thinking. So far tak ada. Alhamdulillah Syahira. Critical thinking. How critical is critical? When you are able to see the other side of the coin, when you can see and understand the other perspectives, okay, that is critical enough. Alright, critical bukannya mesti macam pecah kepala, pecah otak, fikir mesti very critical analysis and analytical sampai ke no, you don't have to that. You don't have to agree, but you have to agree to disagree. Betul kan? Cukuplah. Taking on complex problems, you need to segregate the big problems into smaller chunks for you to easily attend and address to smaller problems rather than the whole big chunk. That is critical. Oral communications. Setakat ni, setahu saya, semua orang boleh present. Semua orang boleh buat oral communication, semua orang can perform that. Am I right? Kan? The thing yang selalunya berlaku adalah when you do a group presentation, okay, when you do a group presentation, you normally nudge your friend's shoulder, kan? Engkau lah cakap kan? Begitulah selalunya. Tapi you can do that on your own. You can present on your own. We don't expect the students, I mean the learners, okay, even myself, okay, you don't expect the students to be like the professional presenter, like the Toastmaster. Tak perlulah. As long as you can deliver your content properly, appropriately, that will be good enough. Written communications, you belajar since standard 1 to do writing. You learn writing of composition, you learn karangan, you learn summary, executive summary. Of course you can write. Betul? We don't expect you to be like the writer of today, like famous writer macam J.R.R. Tolkien ke, ataupun famous writer macam siapa nama dia, the Alvin Toffler himself ke. We don't expect that. As long as you can write properly, accurately, appropriately and deliver your content, that will be good enough. And you must be able to use technology. You are already a technology user. Betul kan? Settle, tak ada masalah. Learn about careers through internships. Do you have internships later on? Do you have like school practicum? Ada kan? So that is where for you to learn and pick all the important skills from the experts dekat sekolah. Okay? And then content, conduct research and do all of the above. You boleh buat dah, tak ada masalah. Okay? 21st century education, schools will no longer be confined within the four walls of the school or the classroom. Okay? It extends beyond that. Kenapa? Sebab information can be found anywhere within your surrounding. Content can be accessed anywhere within your surrounding. Bukan dalam kelas saja. Sebab itulah jadi cikgu ke, learner ke, you have to really be careful with the information that you choose. Alright? 21st century education curriculum. Okay, tak usah baca tu lah, saya tak nak. Saya nak every one of you to look at the image, to look at the graphic. What can you derive from the graphic? What can you say about the graphic?
We are creating robots.
We are creating robots. Lagi? Anybody else? Saya suka tanya-tanya, walaupun education system banyak suruh bagus, we are told to only memorize instead of understand. Yes, correct. Our generation lack of creativity. Yes, okay, tak apa. So, actually, education industry has become like a factory. We produce similar products. We produce similar graduates, whereby that is not the focus of education. That is not the focus of curriculum. That's why during the video just now, we need to have a slightly a different plan for different individuals, for them to catch up with the rest, or maybe for us to challenge them further. All right, but to tell you the truth, I don't quite agree with the K-but questions, the so-called higher order thinking skills questions, the HOTS questions. Okay, to me personally, at least to me personally, okay, the kind of questions there, I'm not complaining, I'm not attacking without prejudice. That's my disclaimer. Okay, I'm not apolitical. But to me, when you want to prepare a hot question, higher order thinking skills question, it has to be within the level of the students. Kalau budak tahun 4, you tanya soalan kibat, mestilah tahun 4 punya kibat yang di hujung. Bukannya budak tahun 4, you tanya soalan kibat yang tingkatan 1. Okay? Bukan. Itu salah. Itu bukan kibat. Okay? Itu satu lagi. Yang orang selalu memaki hamun tu kan. Bat juga ujung dia. Okay? Sorry. Tapi macam itulah. Kalau kata tingkatan 3, janganlah tanya yang pre-university punya soalan. Sedang konon-konon tu kebat. I don't quite agree with that. Why? Because it's not at their level. Alright? Heighten their thinking skills and whatnot. But actually, when the students are not able to answer to the expected level of that KBAT, they become frustrated. And when they become frustrated, they switch off their mind. They do not want to study. They put away their books. They think that they are incapable of learning. They are not able to answer the questions. So the effect is far greater than not being able to answer the KBAT. Why? KBAT has been around for quite some time, but our PISA, the so-called KBAT, is going to contribute to the advancement of students' thinking that will somehow be reflected in the PISA and the team's score. But what happened to our PISA and team score? We are still lacking behind. We have not improved that much, even though KBAT has been around for quite some time. Don't let me start on education refinements. That will take another session of seminar. Okay. Okay. So we are not supposed to do that. We need to nurture our students, our learners, okay, to fulfill their own individual potential, not to produce similar products, as in the education factory. Tak boleh lah. Okay, it test memorization. Siapa yang boleh memorize tinggi, wow, scorer A+, bla 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 bla. Betul tak? Sederik A+, 21, 17, 18, 9, 10 A+. Because it test memorization. Okay, we have been bogged down by that. Nanti kita tengoklah. Okay, the curriculum, the learners. The learners, they will use technologies that have not been invented to do jobs that don't exist. Last time, you pernah dengar tak kerja sebagai Uber driver, Grab driver? Pernah dengar tak? You pernah dengar tak personal shopper? Have you heard of that? Tak pernah dengar, kan? You pernah dengar tak drone pilot? Tak pernah dengar, kan? You pernah dengar tak data analyst? Tak pernah dengar. You pernah dengar tak human machine scientist? Human computer interaction expert, human artificial intelligence expert. Tak pernah dengar, betul tak? Because last time it was not like that. We need to prepare our YouTubers, kan, famous and whatnot. Tapi sometimes interfamous ni pun satu hal juga, kan. They are introducing something which is like benda yang tak sepatutnya lah, I can say. Okay. Tak sepatutnya, tak perlu pun sebenarnya. So our future generation, okay, the learners now who are going to be future generation, future leaders, future educators and whatnot, they need to be prepared to be networked. Okay, they must have good network. They must be able to use the content, the technology, the network technology. They must be multitasker. They must be digitally literate. They must be interactive. Okay, they must have strong visual and spatial skills. They must be connected to the internet. They want to learn things that matter. Saya tanya, simple je. Saya rasa benda ni ramai yang macam tu lah, cuma saya nak tanya. When you want to know about something, let's say from the YouTube, from Instagram and whatnot, how much time are you willing to spend in order to get to the information that you want? Within one sitting, how long are you willing to spend? How much time are you willing to spend? Are you sure 1 hour, Adliana? If it's a movie, then okay lah kot. 20 minutes, few minutes, okay. Do you know why TikTok and Instagram last 1 minute video? Do you know why? Because the attention span, or mostly the learners or the viewers, thank you Nadia. Kalau lama-lama orang tak minat, lama-lama antibody, orang tak suka tengok video. Betul. Why? Because the attention span sebenarnya dalam 45 minit hingga 45 saat, 45 seconds to 1 minute. If you can catch the attention of the students, or the learners, or the users, or the viewers, or the audience within that 45 seconds to 1 minute, then you will catch them towards the other period. Okay. Frankly speaking, saya tanya, masa awal-awal tadi, video tu 5 minit. Berapa lama yang betul-betul fokus daripada mula sampai habis? Daniel dah senyum dah. Sebab Daniel lepas tu, see? Nampak tak? Nampak tak? Awal-awal je kan? See? Saya tahu. Kenapa saya pilih saja 5 minit? Sebab saya tahu benda ni akan berlaku. So, saya nak tengok. Apakah faktor yang keempat yang dia cakap? Nobody notices that. Why? Because dia dah berada di minit-minit hujung, minit-minit terakhir. Okay? Kita tak dapat grab attention di awal-awal. That's why, saya contoh saya lah. If you happen to go through ni, you are not going to spend more time ataupun much time if the content cannot fulfill your thirst of knowledge or your question, okay, about something. Kalau dia tak boleh bagi you dalam masa yang split second, you rasa, alamak, I need to really dedicate, sit down and watch through all this. Betul tak? That's why lah, TikTok dan Instagram, 1 minute tu memang sangat popular. You suka TikTok kan? That's why they are so much popular, because they have identified the market segment, they have analyzed the user, the trends of the user, and they produce the 1 minute video segment. Kalau nak lebih, baru continue watching. Perasan tak dalam Instagram? Kan? So kalaulah bayangkan, just imagine, if that is to be your content later on, how do your students take it? Tak boleh lah. Lemah lah kan. So think about that. Okay. And the learners of today or the 21st century education, they want to be challenged to reach their own conclusions. Okay. You need to nurture that as well. Okay. 21st century education teacher, kalau dulu-dulu cikgu kat sekolah, pumpang-pumpang cerita kan. Lepas tu katalah kita buat robot, ajar. Kemudian dah robot tu kita try to humanize. Okay, humanoid lah. Okay, robot yang kita try to imitate the human. Kalau dia boleh deliver, tak salah. Okay, tak salah. Tapi sebenarnya tak perlu pun buat sampai robot. Betul tak? As it is now, you can always get the information, okay, from internet, from the other social media sources, from the sharing of video, from other educational platforms, from other content generated freely by specific individuals. Betul kan? Boleh dapat banyak kan? It doesn't have to be from robot. Tetapi whatever it is, whatever advanced technology that you have or that you are experiencing, you cannot okay, replace the teacher. Okay, teacher ni tak boleh replace. Dia punya role saja yang berubah. They are going to perform a slightly different role as a curator, okay, as a caretaker, as a facilitator, as a mediator. Okay, itu kerja dia orang. Dah berubah slightly. Okay, dia tak ada teach. Kenapa? Because even you yourself will experience the students maybe in the urban areas, ya. Betul, setuju. Mood takut hilang kerja. Tak ada doktor. No worries, Dr. Azhar. People with your expertise, your knowledge, your caliber will always be needed. Okay, in UiTM, salah satu contoh lah. Okay, so satu hari nanti you akan tengok student you akan tanya you benda yang you belum ajar dalam kelas. Okay, dia akan jadi macam tu. Okay, that's classroom. Ini saya rasa saya tak nak dwell much on this code sebab nanti you boleh I'll share this with you later. Tapi that has been a great shift from the typical classroom of yesteryears into 21st century. Students dah buat research sendiri, students dah buat gunakan platform kalau VLE Frog lah kalau di sekolah menengah kan. Gunakan macam-macam content from internet dan sebagainya. Okay. banyak-banyak benda lagi lah yang dia boleh buat. Okay, this is an example of digital literacy of 21st century education. They are focusing on information, data, and content. It is freely available, easily accessible in the World Wide Web, on the internet. Okay, teaching, learning, and self-development, communication, collaboration, and participation, digital identity, well-being, safety, and security. You have to safeguard who you are, what you produce, what kind of information that you divulge, right? The technical proficiency, you must be updated or up to date with the kind of technology that you are going to use, right? Creative or creation, innovation, and research. These are some of the digital literacy. If you do not have all this, at least you have some of it. Okay, tapi sebenarnya bagus kalau ada semua, tapi serba sedikit, tak apa, cukup. Tak perlu expert dalam setiap satu benda. Okay, but I don't worry much about you, and I don't worry much about the future generations. You are going to have quite a handful with your students in the coming years. Okay, the skills, ni yang tadi itulah, students relevant to student outside a classroom. Jangan ajar student benda yang diguna dalam classroom saja. Why? Because they are not going to spend their life in the classroom. They are going to venture out into the vast world. They are going to do things that you do not imagine. So you need to guide them properly. You need to nurture them properly, right? Student is highly engaged. They collaborate. Diorang tak suka dah buat kerja seorang-seorang. Dia suka collaborate. Okay, and they can even find answers to the questions from their counterparts in the US, in Canada, in Australia, in Jordan, in the UK. All right, dapatkan jawapan. Student has a choice and voice in his or her learning. Later on, you will find your students later on, they will ask and they will keep on asking you questions. How? Why? So be prepared, right? Student takes ownership for their own learning. This is very, very good. Okay, they take up the ownership of their own learning. If they wish to learn more, they will try and find information for that. They are going to be responsible of the kind of work that they produce. Okay, dia bukannya orang kata melepas batuk di tangga, meaning that 3 hari lagi nak submit baru nak buat. No. They are not going to do that. They're going to have a well-researched output, right? Includes higher order thinking, creativity, and innovation. All right, learner takes elicit evidence of learning. Digital citizenship, the 9 themes. How do we define digital citizenship? In fact, we are already in that stage. Semua kita ni sebenarnya dah digital citizen. How do we identify that? First, digital access. Technology users need to be aware that not everyone has the same opportunities in technology. Some of us have the liberty to use multiple technologies. How many of you are familiar ataupun pernah guna virtual reality, simulation, augmented reality? Pernah kan? Oh, tak pernah, Nadia? Oh, tak pernah. Okay, pernah pergi arcade tak? Pernah pergi main game racing kat arcade? Pernah. Pernah pergi flight simulator? Pernah main flight simulator ataupun racing simulator dekat rumah? Game. Pernah? So pernah lah kan? Dr. Azhar kata tu zaman kita. No bro. It is still around. Dalam PS pun ada virtual reality bro. Kalau tak percaya, you pergi tengok. Ramai lagi yang masih main. Bukan kata benda tu adalah permainan yang mainan dulu-dulu. Tak. Nak tunjukkan bahawa the technology is there. Tetapi some people might not have access to that kind of technology. Okay? In order for us to understand that bukan semua orang ada teknologi itu, bukan semua orang ada access to that technology. So you need to understand, bukan semua orang macam you. Okay? When it comes to technology access, tak semua orang pakai Twitter. Betul tak? So jangan ingat, oh everybody sekarang ni zaman Twitter kan, semua orang ada Twitter. No, tak boleh. You have to take into consideration ada orang yang masih lagi tak guna Twitter. Dia tahu atau dia tak guna. Atau dia tak tahu dan dia tak guna. Bukan dia tak guna, dia tidak menggunakan Twitter lah. Okay? Alright. Digital commerce. Bukan semua orang biasa dengan digital commerce. That is why when you frequent the McDonald's during the not the PKP period lah, when you frequent the McDonald's, you can still see some people experiencing difficulty and trouble placing their order through the digital board. Perasan tak? So kalau you ada understanding, greater understanding, pergi tolong. Okay, why? Because even though we like ataupun we favor or we frequent McDonald's, okay, kita dah biasa dengan teknologi, sometimes benda tu bukan semua orang biasa. Beli online. Until today, as I can speak for myself, until today, I'm not quite familiar with purchasing on Shopee, purchasing on. It's not that I don't want to learn. Sorry, it's not that I'm afraid of or I have fear of the technology. No. It's just that I do not want to learn about that. Okay, kenapa? Sebab kalau nanti dah belajar, dah biasa, dah suka, banyaklah benda nak beli kan? No Syazra? Kan? Asyik nak membeli belah je lah, betul tak? Lagipun anak-anak boleh belikan. Betul Daniel. My headphone, anak saya belikan online. Saya tahu je guna, tapi saya tak nak guna. Saya tak nak praktiskan. Okay? Alright. Digital communication. You have a variety of platforms, a variety of tools that you can use in order to communicate. Betul kan? You can communicate anytime with anyone from anywhere. Betul kan? But how do you use it? It comes with another factor that you need to weigh in, that you need to consider. Nanti kita tengok. Okay? Digital literacy. It involves the process of teaching and learning about technology and the use of technology in a digital society. Learners need to be taught to learn anything, anytime and anywhere. Kalau kata student you tak tahu nak guna, kesianlah. Satu gadget is being shared with 5 or 6 siblings. Macam mana? Kan? Amira Nazatul, you ada iPad, you ada iPhone iPhone i12, you ada TV screen besar, you ada iMac dekat rumah. You can use any devices of your preference, okay, to aid the digital literacy. But does your peers, does your colleagues, your friends or your students later on have that privilege?
Tak semua kot.
Tak semua kan? Okey lah. Mungkin tak ada. Okey, you ada smartphone lah, simple smartphone. Semua orang ke, semua student ke ada smartphone?
Tak, sir.
Tak. So, you cannot expect that everybody is literate enough to use that. Kan? Digital etiquette. You must have the etiquette. You must have the proper, appropriate etiquette. Tak bolehlah cyberbullying. Tak bolehlah tiba-tiba teks lecturer waktu selepas pukul 6 petang, pukul 9 malam, teks lecturer, "Sir, saya ada soalan, sir." Salam pun tak ada, kan, mukadimah pun tak ada. It doesn't have to be very long and long-winded mukadimah, but at least, "Assalamualaikum, sir. Salam, sir. Sorry to bother you at this hour. Okay, is it possible for me to pop a question?" Kalau sir tu kata, "Ya, lah." Kalau tak balas, "Sir, hello, are you there? Hello, sir. Hello, can I call you now?" You keep on. Where is the etiquette in there, right? So you kena faham lah, kan? Some lecturers, some educators, they set certain period for them to entertain the students. Macam saya tak lah, sebab saya rasa my students, they are old enough, mature enough to do that. Kelas ni bagus, they are very respectful because they have a very great teacher, educator, Dr. Azhar, kan? Dr. Azhar ni sopan orangnya, sangat sopan. Hooray. Okay? Hooray. Okay, digital law. You have to abide, as a digital citizen, you have to abide by the digital law. Meaning that you cannot illegally hack other people's information. Okay? Betul Dr. Azhar. These students are future teachers. So you need to understand all this because these are the kind of things that you are going to expect from your students, and these are the kind of things that you are going to teach your students or share with your students. Alright? Dia tangkap gambar Miss Nurul Amiza, kan, tengah buat TikTok ke apa dalam kelas, betul dia share. They share with the whole netizen. Kan? Dia tangkap gambar dia tangkap video Mr. Daniel tengah marah-marah ke dalam kelas, they share with the Parents Teacher Association of the school. Macam mana? Kan? Waktu lunch ataupun waktu replacement class, Miss Nur Ainun Saadah jadi replacement teacher, dia kata, "Sat, saya makan Sat, no, saya lapar ni, belum breakfast. Sedap, nasi kandak surnya." Lepas tu dia rakam Miss Nur Ainun Saadah tengah makan cekik baiknya dalam kelas masa replacement hour. It's not your class, Miss Nur Ainun. Kan? Tapi dia buat macam tu, tapi dia share. Macam mana? Kan? Identity theft, downloading of illegal music. When I talk to my students about downloading of illegal music, none of them feel that they are doing something illegal or they are doing something wrong. There is no remorse or resentful feeling. Kenapa? Let me just ask you. All this while, you pernah download lagu daripada internet, MP3 file, betul tak? Betul tak? Mak saya orang Penang, so nak buat macam mana kan, darah mamak. So betul tak? Selalu kan Nur Amira pun download MP3, lagu baru, lagu BTS kan? Lagu Blackpink. Ui, bagus punya. Nala dia download daripada internet. Tapi do you know that you have violated the Copyright Act? You have done an illegal downloading of the song. You did not pay a single cent to the actual author of the song, the proprietor of the song. Lepas tu dengar lagu best je kan, nak tidur pun dengar lagu baiknya kan, bukan dengar mengaji, dengar lagu. Nak tidur kan, pasang kat telinga kan. Macam mana? Tak rasa bersalah kan? Tak boleh lah. Kan? So macam mana nak buat? You have to wait 75 years for the Copyright Act to be absolved. 75 years. 75 years. You nak tunggu, you pun tak tahu berapa lama, saya pun tak tahu berapa lama kan. So how do we go about doing it? Belilah. Just hearing directly from YouTube. Okay, that is another good choice, Zul. Good. Ataupun belilah. Jangan beli the whole CD. You just buy the one song. Buy from Apple Music. Pula. Kan? Tapi dulu pun saya buat juga. Saya selalu cari lagu yang best-best, download kat CD, lepas tu pas kat Azhar. Sebab Azhar punya list lah. Gurau. Okay, digital rights and responsibilities. The freedom of rights extended to the people in the digital world. Rights to privacy, freedom of speech. Every digital technology users are binded by the digital rights responsibility. Tak payah cerita zaman jahil Tak ada. Azhar baik, bagus. Dia bagus dia. So digital rights and responsibilities. Every digital technology users have been accorded that kind of rights and responsibilities. Okay, you ada freedom of speech. Yes. Can you post whatever that you want as long as it does not violate any law? Boleh tak? Boleh kan? Amira, ni nama-nama yang nampak je saya panggil ni. Nur Nabila and Yana. This morning they had they had breakfast from the nearby stall. Dia orang beli. Lepas tu dia orang tangkap gambar. Lepas tu dia kata, "Hello, teh tarik anyone?" They have the rights to do that. Betul tak? Kan? Tak ada siapa nak marah kan? Tak ada siapa boleh cakap, "Oh, Yana, Nabila, udah-udahlah tu. Tak payahlah nak gambar breakfast setiap hari. Bosan lah. Ni bukan diary." They cannot be reprimanded. You cannot punish them for that. Why? Because freedom of speech, dia tak kacau orang pun. You nak tengok, tak nak tengok sudah. Sebab itulah netizen ni ataupun yang kaki kutuk komentar ke yang teruk-teruk ni, if you do not want to watch that, don't. As long as the person does not violate any law, I'm saying along that lines, okay? If they have violated something ataupun the law, okay? If they have violated a law, then they should be reprimanded. But if you do not violate any law, they are entitled to the rights to privacy and freedom of speech. So we cannot complain about that, right? And then digital health and wellness. Those people who are addicted to the internet, the people who are addicted to pornography, the people who are addicted to games, be careful. Why? You are not being a responsible digital citizen, because you need to take care of that as well. Okay, even while I'm saying this, my son sometimes dia spend tengok apa, main game dan sebagainya lewat malam. So tak baguslah. Digital security, your self protection, you should not divulge or you should not disclose your personal information. You should have virus protection, backups. You should be careful with whoever that can gain access to your devices and whatnot. Semua tu kena ada lah, kena tahulah. Ini senario Malaysia. Out of 32.57 million people in Malaysia, urban dwellers 77.4%. Mobile connection 39.99 million people. Million connection. Okay. Versus the population. Maknanya lebih banyak connection or connectivity daripada jumlah sebenar penduduk. Okay. Internet users 27.43 million users. 28 million active social media users, but they are not unique users. Ini maknanya based on accounts. Kalau dia ada 2-3 account lah, kira 28 juta, babe. 86%. Ramai tak pengguna? Ramai kan? Berhati-hati. Ni data, kita dah sampai zettabyte. 3 tahun lepas, 2018, data kita dalam 40 exabyte. Zettabyte ni ada berapa? Ada 21 kosong. 21 kosong, babe. Okay, zettabyte. That kind of information is being circling around the world. Mobile traffic. Okay. Now, 77 exabytes. Exabyte ni bawah sikit daripada zettabyte. 77 exabytes per month in the future lah. Sekarang ni dah 57 exabytes per month. Berapa banyak tu info. Okay. In 2019, every minute, inilah yang dilakukan. 18.1 million text sent, 4.5 million videos viewed, 390,030 apps downloaded, 347 scrolling Instagram, 87 banyak, ada Tinder, ada emails being sent, ada messages sent, ada spend online, ada tengok Netflix, ada Google, ada guna 1 million logging in on Facebook. Every minute, 1 minit cik. Okay, 1 minit. Okay. So, berhati-hatilah. You need to have some sense or semblance of information security to protect your identity, to protect data breach, to protect misuse of information. Okay? Kena, kalau tak betul, jangan kongsi. Betul? You kena check dulu. Before you share the information, you need to be certain, you need to be assured of the genuine of the information you are sharing. Okay? To keep track of data use, tak pasti jangan kongsi, betul. To prevent frauds and internet-related shortcomings, to protect vital data, either of your own ataupun what you are working on. Sorry Amira, sampai dah berteleku tangan boring sorry Okay, nanti ini boleh baca. Ini pun nanti boleh baca lah. Kita let's go to the core. Digital gap and digital divide issues. Digital immigrants are actually those who are jumping onto the bandwagon to become digital citizen. Okay, orang dulu yang bukan lahir dalam teknologi society, dia nak masuk teknologi, nak kena guna, nak kena belajar, itu digital immigrant. Okay, as for myself and Sir Azhar, Dr. Azhar, I believe we are digital immigrants because masa tu technology was not widespread as what we see now. Okay, so saya rasa saya generation X kot. Betul tak Dr. Azhar? We are from generation X, right? Yes. The one before was baby boomers. Tapi yang lahir tahun 2000 ni dia dah generation Z rasanya saya. Okay, so digital natives, they are the ones yang lahir-lahir je, lahir dengan iPad. Lahir-lahir macam nangis tu ditenteramkan dengan muzik datang daripada iPhone. Okay, bila belajar apa? ABC daripada YouTube. Bila tengok kartun, belajar daripada mana? Daripada Netflix ataupun daripada YouTube juga. Okay? So contoh dia macam ni lah. Bila suruh buat something dekat whiteboard, there aren't any icons to click. It's a chalkboard, kan? No textbooks, I'm strictly web fed. Semua belajar daripada online. Okay? So digital gap and digital divide issues ni, it has been around for quite some time. Okay, the digital divide. In terms of access, siapa yang dapat access ataupun tak dapat. Satu lagi, siapa yang boleh guna information. Maknanya dia dapat information tu, dia boleh guna atau tak guna. Dia tahu guna atau tak guna. Okay, itu pun adalah digital divide. Macam saya kata tadi lah. Makcik tu dia masuk McDonald, dia tahu pesan dekat kaunter, tapi dia tak tahu pesan dekat digital board. Kan? So somebody needs to assist. Right? Sometimes there are the current generation, diorang guna teknologi tu for the very first time. Sometimes they can figure it out because of the good human-computer interaction interface. Sometimes they are a bit slow in understanding the interaction part. So yang tu pun they may take some time. Okay, but in the end they will understand that. Then the quality of use gaps. Sometimes they have the digital skills to find their way around the internet, but not the knowledge to make good use or get the most out of it. Dia tahu maklumat tu, dia boleh dapat capai, tapi dia tak tahu sama ada ini nak digunakan kat mana. Bagusnya guna ni kat mana? Bila? Alright? Alright, International Telecommunication Union (ITU) established the DAI ataupun Digital Access Index, which measures the overall ability of a country's citizens to access and use ICT. They consider the variables around 5 categories, which are quality, infrastructure, knowledge, accessibility, and use. And the main effects of the digital divide. Apa yang berlaku kalau ada digital divide ni? Apa yang terjadi nanti? Lack of communication and isolation. Okay. People in remote areas, in rural suburban areas, they are disconnected. Okay. Something similar happens to urban residents who are disconnected, which causes social isolation. Duduk bandar tapi tak berapa sure macam mana nak gunakan. Okay. Pun ada juga. Barrier to studies and knowledge. What happens if digital divide exists or persists? There will be barriers to studies and knowledge. Therefore, the current generation, okay, dia akan ada masalah. They will have insufficient ataupun lack of technology and digital skills. Okay, dia akan berada seolah-olah out of the loop. Dia tak tahu lah. Macam seolah-olah zaman tu bukan zaman dia. Alright. So it also increases lack of knowledge by limiting access to knowledge. Tapi kena berhati-hatilah what kind of knowledge that they gain access to. Sebab tak nak nanti budak-budak ataupun children of today, they access the websites yang tak sepatutnya atau yang tak senonoh. Another main effects of the digital divide is it accentuates social differences. Hello, aku ada iPhone 12 tau. Kau ada? Kata. Boleh? Hello, kat rumah aku ada iPhone 12, semalam baru beli 2. Sebab satu tu spare. Kalau apa-apa terjadi pada the first one. Aku ada iPad, aku ada MacBook Pro, aku ada TV besar, aku ada iMac desktop. Hang ada? Kan? So, social difference. Alright? So, social difference yang lain adalah in terms of digital illiteracy. Sometimes the social difference ni boleh jadi between gender. Perempuan, dia tak expect, untuk buat kerja-kerja teknikal. Okay, perempuan tak boleh jadi technologist. Okay, perempuan tak boleh jadi engineer. No, cannot. You cannot have that. Okay, dia mesti boleh buat. Mesti bagi ruang dan peluang yang sama. Okay, itu gender discrimination. Alright, pernah tengok ni tak? Pernah kan? Pernah kan? So what do these tell you? What do all this tell you? They are pointing out the very obvious thing which is around the digital divide. Budak nak kena masuk hutan, panjat pokok, tidur dalam hutan tempat tinggi untuk gain access to the internet. Cikgu kena datang rumah, explain dekat murid-murid sebab apa tak ada access to the internet. Kan? Budak kena pinjam laptop kawan, kena cycle 20 kilometers to borrow the laptop. The teacher has to prepare a module, a printed module to be given to the students. Adik-beradik kena share, 6 orang kena share dengan mak punya device. Mak kena sama-sama tolong ajar juga. Okay? Yang ni satu device share 4 adik-beradik nak access information. Alright? So, the digital divide factors or issues ni, whether have or have not, whether you have the device or not, whether you have the gadgets or not, it's about ownership. Okay, but it's not only about the devices, but it is also concerning the content, whether you have access to the content or not. Okay, it's also about access to technology, internet, the network, the infrastructure, the cost, the package. All right, how much is the cheapest internet package from the telco? RM30 per month. Do you think it can sustain you for the whole month? For the online session? Tak kan? Nak beli. Bapak dia dah lah tak kerja sebab kena retrench, buang kerja because of PKP. Mak dia kerja dekat kedai makan tolong-tolong. Kedai makan pun kejap tutup, kejap buka. Nak kena top up lagi Nadira. Betul? So how? Dah lah line slow. Dia duduk dekat Ulu Tembeling. Dia duduk dekat Ceruk Tok Kun. Dia duduk dekat mana? Dekat tu Nala ujung, dekat kawasan Sekolah Limau Kasturi, Kelantan. Betul tak? So how? So it takes an understanding. Nanti kita cerita. Instructions, curriculum, education system. You kena lah ubah supaya sesuaikan. Dengan apa? Sesuaikan with the current scenario. Not only in terms of the pandemic, but before this as well, the digital divide exists. Even before the current pandemic of COVID-19. Right? The pandemic of COVID-19 only raises more significantly about the current issues or about the issues that we are already faced with. Alright? Janganlah you cannot expect the students to deliver, or you cannot deliver the same kind of instructions to the students online just like you do on a face-to-face or physical face-to-face session. Alright? You cannot have the same kind of curriculum without tweaking here and there during the pandemic, during the online session, ODL session. Tak boleh lah, kena ubah lah. Sebab itu kalau saya, kalau cakap pasal ni memang saya kena cakap lah. SPM, tak payahlah buat level yang keterlaluan sangat dia punya situasi tu. You can always change that, water it down according to the scenario. You don't really have to fulfill the whole syllabus tu at one go, tak lah. You buatlah berkala, boleh je kan? Betul tak? Tak setuju Intan? Intan macam tak setuju je, Intan Syazwani. Tak adalah, you have to tweak here and there to make it suitable with the scenario. Bukan saya kata mudahkan SPM, tak. It's the same SPM, tapi you change the approach. Right? Boleh je buat. Siapa yang buat? Kita yang buat. Macam moratorium lah. Do you know about moratorium? It's no longer an automatic moratorium. It is given to the B40, right? Habis yang M40 ni, yang T40 ni, T20 ni, kena apply. But it's not meant for all, Nadia. Kan, moratorium kan. Dia kata apa? Oh, alasan dia bank, kerajaan tak ada suara dalam ni. Dulu kan boleh buat, kenapa sekarang tak boleh buat? Bank-bank ini dia is under the governance of the national bank, the bank negara. So bank negara is under kerajaan. So kalau kerajaan kata macam ni, bank negara bagi issue an instruction, so the rest of the bank shall follow through. Apa yang susah? Kalau tak boleh buat, saya buat. Kan, saya ajar, saya buat. Kalau tak boleh, benda simple, jangan susahkan. Okay, alright. Low income level, there is a disparity as well. Low literacy level, there is also disparity. Betul Emilia, nak untung. Dah untung pun nak untung kan, teruk. Pindah tempat lain lah. Language, lack of motivation. These are the digital divide issues. When the students are already face a tremendous, huge obstacles in terms of connectivity, in terms of classes, attending classes and ODL and whatnot, with the lack of understanding from the teacher or the classroom or the school or the ministry, lack of ownership of devices to learn, they become less motivated. So do you think they will learn better? No, they're not going to learn better. Sebab itulah kita, whatever good strategies that can be promoted to reduce the digital gap, okay, to mind the gap or to reduce or to plug the gap, kita kena support. Okay, adalah telco, dia kata okay, telco dah untung berjuta kan. Okay, dia kata okay, kita bagi dalam masa 1 bulan ni free during this hour ataupun murah ataupun free kan. Extend je lah sampai the whole waktu 3 bulan, 6 bulan kan. Extend. Betul tak? Lepas tu kalau nak charge lah sikit, small fraction. Dia dah untung banyak. Betul tak? Sebab tu dah orang cakap. Saya tak cakap, orang cakap without prejudice. My disclaimer. Sebab tu orang cakap, bukan saja Yahudi ada dekat Israel. Kat Malaysia pun ada harga Yahudi. Kat Malaysia pun ada Yahudi. Betul tak? So, my take on this, whatever the good things that we can promote ataupun that is being carried out for the benefits of the nation, for the benefit of the community, yes, kita kena support to reduce the digital gap. Okay? Nak jaga budak-budak, dia ada internet, dia ada network, dia ada package, dia ada bandwidth, dia ada data, tapi dia akses kepada benda lain. No, kena jaga. Betul tak? Right? So to me personally, I always adopt the principle of pedagogy of the heart. Okay? Pedagogy of the heart. It has 3 H. Head, heart, and hand. Okay? Bila nak buat sesuatu tu, fikir. Boleh ke budak-budak ni buat macam ni? Kesian tak diorang? Cukup tak masa? Study from the heart. Teach from the heart. Kesian diorang ni kan, satu device belajar kena kongsi. Macam mana nak buat Ada tak kita boleh tolong? Okay. From the hand, maknanya involve the hand. Kita buatkan modul yang mana tak boleh, kita tulis instruction yang simple, simplified supaya diorang boleh belajar dengan lebih baik. Okay. Basically, you have to balance the right work, the right role, the right time, and the right people. Be the right people. Do the right work. Play the right role and the right time, at the right time. Because why? A person's most useful asset is not a head full of knowledge, but a heart full of love, and an ear ready to listen, and a hand willing to help. So with that, I conclude my sharing session with you. Thank you, people. May the force be with you. So, any questions?
Kita akan bergerak kepada sesi Q&A kejap lagi, Doktor.
Boleh. Saya tahu tak banyak soalannya, don't worry.
Okay.
Alright. I stop presenting boleh
Boleh.
Ke nak tunggu tengok yang Stormtrooper tu?
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Dr. Azlan bin Abdul Aziz atas pengisian yang cukup jelas dan cukup bermanfaat itu tadi. Tanpa melengahkan masa, majlis diteruskan lagi dengan sesi soal jawab. Saya akan bacakan beberapa soalan yang telah diajukan oleh para hadirin. Kita tunggu ejek.
Boleh. Sambil tunggu tu boleh ke saya share some oh, ada soalan dah. Okey.
Okey, baik Doktor. Soalan yang pertama, pada pendapat Doktor, apakah skill yang paling penting yang perlu ada bagi seorang pelajar ataupun pensyarah sewaktu pembelajaran atas talian?
Okey. Nak kata paling penting tu banyak benda paling penting kan?
Betul.
Tapi sebenarnya lah, to me macam saya kata tadi lah, first thing that you have to have is understanding. Okay, understanding. Even though you as a learner, as a student, you have to understand the scenario that is occurring that in your lecturer's house, in your lecturer's vicinity, in your lecturer's surrounding. You kena faham lah. Tak boleh lah main terjah je ikut suka bila-bila, betul tak? Betul kan? So macam pensyarah pula, you mesti faham lah. Macam saya sejujurnya, tapi jangan cerita ke orang lah. Sejujurnya, kalau saya buat kelas, saya tak buat kelas 2 jam. Saya tak buat kelas 1 jam setengah. Ini sebab Azhar dia kata, hang tak buat 1 jam setengah, siap kalau. So saya terpaksa buat 1 jam setengah. So kalau saya buat 1 jam lah. Itu pun paling lama lah tu. 1 jam 10 minit, 1 jam. Bergantung kepada topik. Kalau topik tu pendek lagi, my class will be 45 minutes. So that is understanding. Kenapa? It's important to understand the scenario now. Okay. Internet fatigue, betul. Lagging satu hal, data satu hal. You have to remember, you have to understand basically that, I mean, myself as a lecturer, I have to understand, my students are not registering, and my students do not register only for my class. They have other 5 or 6 other classes, different classes to attend to. Okay? Students kata, I buat kelas 1 hour face-to-face je. Tak apa, kalau if that has achieved the objective of the day, why not? Go ahead, man. Kan? It is not going to be based on the duration, but it is actually how much is being understood during that session. Betul tak? Dia tak boleh dengar, dengar ceramah Islamik dekat masjid 2 jam. Alih-alih keluar terus jadi pak lebay ke? Alih-alih keluar ceramah 2 jam Islamik terus jadi ustazah ke? Tak kan? It depends very much on what is received, what is being inputted, upon what is being given to you, and how well you accept that. So understanding is the key to me. I could be wrong, I stand corrected, but to me personally, that's important.
Faham.
Okay.
Soalan yang pertama memang apa orang kata, pemahaman tu adalah orang kata kunci kepada segala-galanya lah, boleh cakap macam tu lah kan?
Yes, betul.
Okay, faham. So itu soalan yang pertama, Doktor.
Okay,
soalan
boleh.
Salam Doktor. Doktor tak berapa setuju dengan kebat, tapi bukan ke kebat dikira dalam highest level of Bloom taxonomy? Soalan apa bagi Doktor untuk measure students? Okay.
Kalau nak menjawab soalan tu, saya bagi satu analogi dulu, boleh tak?
Boleh.
We are talking about technology, right?
Betul.
Okay. Technology does not ensure success. Just because you include technology in the classroom, so your students will learn better. Your students will perform better. Is that so? No. The right use of technology, how you use the technology properly, appropriately, will determine the students' understanding. All right. So you cannot simply say that by the virtue of using technology, my students will perform better than the rest of the other classes. No. The right use of technology will help for the students to learn better. Okay. So in terms of KBAT, I do not agree with KBAT, not in totality. What I mean to say is that you have to use KBAT appropriately, to the right level. Okay. And KBAT, yes, of course, it relates to the highest level of Bloom taxonomy, and you have to check which Bloom's taxonomy are you referring to. There are at least 3 kinds of Bloom taxonomy. The first one is the original Bloom taxonomy before the refinement that takes place later on. Then the second Bloom taxonomy, which they're currently being used, it is a refined version of Bloom taxonomy. Okay, and the third one. Okay, I'm not saying that one replaces another. No. Tapi kita kena tengoklah mana yang lebih terpakai dan bersesuaian. The third one is Bloom's taxonomy, a refined Bloom's taxonomy in relation to digital scenario. Kena tengok. Nanti you cari lah. Memang ada. Okay. So when you talk about KBAT ni, saya bukan kata in totality saya reject KBAT. Tak. KBAT ni must be at the right level appropriately. So KBAT ni memanglah relate to level of Bloom's taxonomy. Tapi saya nak tanya, apa sebenarnya yang you nak ukur, apa yang sebenarnya you nak uji, apa yang sebenarnya you nak nilai. So bergantung kepada ukuran apa yang you nak nilai ataupun fokus itulah yang menentukan which question is suitable. If you want to check whether you have taught the students one concept, you want to check whether the students are able to apply that concept to another different scenario. Into another scenario, similar scenario using a different scenario using the same concept. So you nak tengok application, kan? So you kena tengoklah soalan yang berkaitan dengan the application or implementation of that concept in a different scenario. Kalau you kata no, yang ni nak tengok bahagian understanding je, so you carilah soalan yang sesuai dengan understanding. Apa yang you nak sebenarnya? Dia tak ada one size fits all kind of thing. Okay? Dan selalunya soalan ni bergantung kepada kefahaman dan pemahaman dan daya intelek students, bukan dia punya memorization. Okay? That's why I normally advise my students, do not memorize, don't memorize. You must understand, because when you memorize some paragraphs or whatnot, if you happen to forget about one or two words, it will certainly disrupt the chain of words, the chain of information in the paragraph. So don't memorize. Okay, next.
Okay, faham. So kebat ni kita boleh je, memang dia dipakai untuk measure tahap kefahaman students. Cumanya dia ada soalan-soalan yang sesuai dan soalan yang tidak sesuai. Maksudnya ada masa boleh guna, ada masa boleh guna, kan?
Betul. Budak contoh budak tahun 6 dia tanya pasal matematik dia tanya pasal kira faedah untuk bayar kad kredit. Budak tahun 6 pernah tengok tak kad kredit? Pernah ada tak kad kredit? Pernah guna tak kad kredit? Duit sendiri pun dia tak boleh dapat generate, betul tak? Mana dia ada gaji? Dia guna duit mak pak yang bagi je, betul tak?
Betul.
So, macam ni nak tanya dia benda tu? Di luar dia punya surrounding. Itu bukan maksudnya kita menyediakan dia untuk masa depan. Itu kalau itulah fokus dia, we have to introduce the calculation of interest through credit cards because we want to expose them to the future scenario. No, that is the wrong introduction. Why? You are actually teaching them to use credit card untuk belajar berhutang, which is not good. Betul tak? So, tak appropriate lah. Kan? Satu lagi selalu yang saya selalu nampak lah, ni maybe I stand corrected. Saya selalu nak tengok macam kadang-kadang Ministry of Education ni, mereka mimpi malam tadi tengok budak-budak tak pandai nak manage duit, tiba-tiba nak masukkan dalam tingkatan 1, 2, 3, 4 tingkatan 1, 2, 3 tajuk macam mana pengurusan duit yang berkesan, pengurusan kewangan yang berkesan. Hello, mereka tak generate duit mereka sendiri, macam mana mereka nak tahu? Kan, awak ropla jingga sangat. sorry. Okay. Alright, next. Selain YouTube, apakah platform medium yang boleh digunakan pakai pelajar untuk mempelajari kemahiran seperti edit video dan lain-lain? Sebenarnya memang ada banyak platform lain. Bagi saya lebih terbuka. To be, as long as you can gain access to different platforms, alright, sama ada YouTube ke dekat short bites, bagi short video bites, ataupun dipanggil video clips ataupun video podcast yang dikongsikan di website yang selain daripada YouTube pun boleh. Instagram pun ada juga orang share juga. Dekat TikTok saya tak sure. Tapi ada banyak platform lain yang you boleh, as long as you can get your hands on that, okay. Ada je yang dalam Facebook pun dia share macam mana nak edit video dan sebagainya. So any platform yang you can get your hands on, dia ada ajar, dan dalam masa yang you sanggup spend, okay lah.
Betul.
Hopefully that answer your question lah, kan. Betul, dia tak ada spesifik. Mana-mana boleh, sebab dia as long as nak belajar sanggup, okay je.
Selagi kita rajin nak belajar dan ada keinginan untuk belajar. So dia
Betul.
tak daripada jenis platform yang nak digunakan.
Betul. Okay. So off topic from tech, but what are your advice for educators, especially the young ones, to deal with mistakes and failures? Whose mistakes are we talking about? The learners' mistakes, your students' mistakes, or yourself mistakes? Or your mistakes? Sebenarnya mistakes.
Dari segi learners,
Kalau learners mistake, let's say you are an educator, your learner buat mistake. Kan? There are many ways for you to address that mistakes lah. Satu, you boleh bagi terus jawapan. Satu, you boleh nurture. Okay? You tak bagi jawapan. You kata, okay, ingat tak yang ni kita belajar kat mana? So you try to let the learners discover dia punya jawapan. Oh, ingat tak dulu kita pernah belajar tajuk ni, topik ni? Pernah tak? Okay, muka surat ni, ingat tak? Dulu kita bagi contoh ni. So you nurture them, you guide them to the answer. Kalau itu melibatkan learner. Tapi if melibatkan yourself, sama juga. Okay, you don't dwell on mistakes and failures. Why? Because that is the opportunity for you to learn better, to be better.
Betul.
Okay, kan yang siapa yang buat light bulb? Thomas Edison? Bukan. Thomas Edison siapa? Siapa yang buat light bulb? Einstein. Siapa yang buat light bulb?
Daniel answer.
Siapa Daniel? Cepat Daniel.
Thomas Edison lah kan?
Thomas Edison kan?
Tak silap tak ingat lah.
Okay, dia ada yang kata apa Lodigin, Alexander Lodigin adalah siapa tak nama dia tak ingat lah. Okay, Thomas Edison, dia dah jumpa 99 cara yang salah untuk buat bulb. Cara ke-100 dia jumpa baru betul. Okay tak?
Okay je.
A valuable lesson indeed, betul tak? He learned from mistakes. So there are 99 ways not to produce a light bulb. Betul kan? So that's how you take it with a pinch of salt and then be positive about it. Mistakes and failures are avenues and opportunities for you to learn and become better. Itu je. Janganlah the mistakes, your mistakes of yesteryears, your failures and mistakes of yesteryears do not define who you are now. Don't worry. As long as you learn from it, you take a positive leaf out of it, then it's okay. Okay, boleh kita sambung kepada soalan seterusnya, boleh kan? Robot tak dapat ganti cikgu dalam kerja seperti facilitator etc. Tapi dengan keadaan online learning, bukankah kita lebih bergantung dengan gadget? Yes, gadget are not robots. Kan? Gadgets, devices are actually bahan perantara. Kalau bahasa Melayu lama dia adalah wadah. Kan? Wadah je. Dia punya alat perantara je. You still need the educator. You still need the teacher. Betul kan yang jadi facilitator. So alat tu tak kisah. So alat tu bukan robot, tak apa. Hopefully that answer the questions. Do you agree that online based learning is less effective in order to produce a good quality graduates in terms of both knowledge and skills? Wow, a very good question indeed. Ini soalan-soalan ni bukan dipaksa oleh Dr. Azhar tak ada, alhamdulillah. Okay. Let me bring you to the current scenario. Did you read yesterday's or 2 days ago's newspaper? Kejap, 10 hari bulan. Last week's paper on the 11th or on the 10th. Did you read the newspaper? The headline? Keputusan SPM 2020 adalah terbaik dalam 5 tahun. Betul. Budak SPM 2020 tu, mereka duk ambil SPM during pandemic. Betul tak?
Betul.
Am I right?
Betul.
So how come their results are very good as compared to the last 5 years? They are doing ODL, online distance learning. So is that going to be less effective or very effective? It's a trick question there. Okay, during my research last time, I did one research at the university level. Sebenarnya online based learning dia akan mengeluarkan result ataupun dia akan mengeluarkan bukan keputusan, performance. The performance is more or less the same as physical face to face. That was my research that was one of my research lah during 2009 kot, tak silapnya lah kot. Okay. During 2009, 12 years ago, ada research saya, dia tulis dia akan dapat performance dia lebih kurang macam face to face. Okay. Kalau kata dia less effective, not to say the understanding, the the idea is that it's going to be less effective. Tapi macam saya cakap lah, if used properly and appropriately, it could be the same at the same level of physical face-to-face. Kalau dia kata more, kalau dia kata better, macam SPM tu, baik tak payah buat sekolah 1 tahun, baik. Baik buat sekolah berapa bulan je. Yang hak lain tu semua buat ODL. Barulah keputusan nanti lagi bagus lagi daripada 5 tahun dulu. Tak, betul tak? So the result of SPM 2021 is better than the result of last year and 5 years ago. ODL 7 bulan. 3 bulan atau 4 bulan je yang face to face. Betul tak? So we need to conduct a serious and proper research lagi lah. Because ada orang fikir less efektif, ada orang fikir lebih efektif. Tapi sebenarnya yang kalau kajian saya lah, kajian setitis di laut, setitis air di lautan tu, kajian ataupun sedikit buih di lautan tu, kajian saya tu dia kata performance dia sama macam face to face. So I'm a teacher. What is your opinion regarding cheating in exams? The school is conducting examination online. Okay, right. At the moment, as far as I know, okay, what I can share with you is, at the moment in Malaysia, we have not created any 100% foolproof learning management system for examination, for online examination that can beat cheating. Tak ada. Kita tak ada satu sistem pun setakat ni di Malaysia yang ada macam tu. And if I'm not mistaken, if I can share with you, at the moment pun in the world all around the globe, we have yet to reach that level of examination, online examination that can beat cheating. Okay, so but what we can do, this question has been around since the early introduction of learning management system, since the early years of the introduction of conducting examination online. Okay. Firstly, when we nurture and educate our students to be responsible, okay, to be ethical, okay, to be honest, to be trustworthy, to be transparent, if we nurture that enough, I think they're not going to cheat during their examinations online. Why? Because that is going to be with them. Kalau dia menipu, bab cendekil apa ni semua ni, it will going to be with them until the rest of their life. They will carry the heavy burden of cheating. Okay, they will know that their performance, their good grades are not based on their own effort but on cheating. Okay, sebab kita tak boleh nak cover cheating pun di, macam saya katakan masa the introduction part of the session, some of the well-known universities around the globe, okay, dia buat final examination, online final examination, dan diorang pun tak boleh nak cater to the cheating during exams. Alright, so hopefully if we nurture them well, okay, hopefully if they follow through, insyaAllah benda tu boleh dikurangkan. Okay, kita boleh curb lah. Tapi tak boleh kot kita nak betul-betul mengesahkan bahawa tidak akan berlaku penipuan ataupun online cheating. That is a huge, there's a tall order to fulfill lah. That's a huge task lah.
Betul. Lagi sekarang online kan, jadi kita tak nampak students buat apa dekat rumah. So kita tak boleh nak halang benda tu adalah luar kuasa kita.
Betul. Sebenarnya lah, it's a bit, itulah. Macam kat Arab Saudi lah, hukum pencuri potong tangan, betul?
Betul.
Ada juga kes potong tangan. Ada juga kes pencuri, betul tak?
Betul.
Dia tak boleh curi tang ni, dia curi tang tu. Kan, benda-benda macam tu lah. Dia tak ada 100% foolproof system, belum ada lagi setakat yang saya tahu lah. I stand corrected. Okay, do you agree that no hands-on approach in online teaching? How will it affect future generation? Okay, sometimes I may not have the right answer to all the questions, but what I can share with you, whatever information that I have for the time being. Okay, no hands-on approach in online teaching. Sebenarnya, what is the focus of your online teaching? If it's to disseminate information, it can be done through lecture macam ni. Betul tak? Kalau kata, oh no, during the lab session, we need to be taught on how to use certain tools, certain software. Kan? So lecturer tu boleh sediakan video dan ajar. Dan lecturer tu bersedialah untuk waktu, the lecturer has to be prepared online if the students have questions during the specific period. Betul tak? Okay.
Betul.
Atau dia boleh curate. Okay, sebab kadang-kadang we do not want to reinvent the wheel. The content might be already available on the net. So what we do is the lecturer can become a curator of information, meaning that he or she can get his or her hands on the necessary tool, okay, on necessary content, on the necessary information, and arrange it, organize it in a way that, okay, students, if you need to know on how to use this software, okay, this is the introductory video, number 1, label it as such. And then follow through with the second video, the third one, and so on and so forth. Okay? Mungkin boleh jadi macam tu jugalah. Okay? How will it affect future generation? One thing for sure is that if you see now itself, right, the current generations, the students are well versed, the learners of today or the children of today, the generation of today, they are well versed with technology. And even if they are not well versed, they will require, or they will take only a short period of time in order to understand, to get to know on how to use that technology. They are very fast. They will learn on their own when they want to do so. Okay? So jangan takut sangatlah pasal benda tu. Sebab kita bagi dia fundamentals, kita bagi dia basics, kita bagi dia guide, kita facilitate, dia boleh buat. InsyaAllah, dan jangan takutlah. Okay?
Kita tanya, kalau macam kita sekarang ada banyak soalan kan untuk saya jawab. Sebabnya sekarang masa amatlah
begitu mencemburui, betul.
Jadinya kalau saya ataupun AJK yang lain bagi soalan dekat saya dan saya jawab, boleh ke?
InsyaAllah boleh.
Okay, nanti kita akan ajukan jawapan kepada pelajar yang tanya soalan tersebut.
Boleh.
So itu saja untuk sesi Q&A pada hari ini. Thank you, sir.
Okay, alright. Thank you very much everybody for the opportunity extended to me. Thank you very much Dr. Azhar, thank you very much the organizer, thank you very much the students, the participants, teacher ke, lecturer ke. Okay, hopefully apa yang saya share tu tidaklah membosankan. Tapi apa yang dikongsikan tu adalah apa yang berada di sekeliling kita lah, apa yang saya tahulah. Mungkin ada banyak benda lagi kan yang saya tak tahu kan, sebab kita tak berhenti belajar kan. You learn from the cradle to the grave kan. Okay, with that thank you very much.
Terima kasih diucapkan sekali lagi kepada Dr. Azlan bin Abdul Aziz atas kesudian beliau memberikan ceramah dan menjawab persoalan yang dikemukakan. Bagi soalan-soalan yang tidak sempat dijawab, jawapan anda akan dikongsikan melalui platform Telegram setelah tamat program. Semoga semua manfaat dan ilmu-ilmu baharu yang diperoleh dapat kita kongsikan kepada lebih ramai kenalan di luar sana.
Seterusnya, pihak majlis menjemput wakil peserta untuk menyimpul atau merangkumkan perbincangan kita pada hari ini. Dipersilakan wakil yang pertama, Saudara Badrul Amin bin Johari.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Boleh dengar suara?
Boleh. Jelas. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, baik. Baik, saya nak bagi sedikit ni lah feedback dan juga perasaan saya join webinar pada hari ini. First of all, ini berkaitan dengan digital wars ni ataupun pembangunan dalam pendidikan ni adalah perkara yang sepatutnya penerangan ni diberikan kepada semua orang yang sedang mengalami situasi yang terkini lah, dan antara poin doktor yang sangat menarik tadi yang saya boleh ambil adalah berkaitan dengan digital citizens ataupun inilah warga digital yang perlu sebenarnya belajar tentang perkara ini, dan penerangan sebegini sepatutnya diberikan kepada semua orang, merangkumi beberapa perkara yang aspek yang penting lah yang sempat saya catat tadi berkait dengan etika digital ataupun digital ethics, digital security, berkaitan dengan berkaitan juga dengan dengan keselamatan dan juga etika ketika menggunakan teknologi yang sebeginilah. Bagi pandangan saya tidak berbelah bahagi untuk mengatakan tentang pembangunan teknologi pada masa kini sebenarnya membantu kepada pertumbuhan dan juga pembangunan pendidikan lah pada waktu ketika sekarang ini, Dan untuk yang sertai pada webinar kita hari ini, jangan kita pernah berhenti menyebarkan maklumat penting ini dan sentiasa sebarkan vibe positif lah dengan memberi penerangan, bukannya sangkaan kepada orang lain. InsyaAllah itu je kot daripada saya.
Seterusnya, dipersilakan wakil yang kedua, Saudari Intan Syazwani binti Mahathir.
Assalamualaikum semua. Jadi hari ini apa yang kita dapat yang boleh saya rangkumkan, saya berfokus kepada dari segi pendidikan itu sendiri terhadap cikgu dan juga pelajar. Basically seorang cikgu ni dia kena perform dengan baik untuk impact student future. Sebab student ni yang akan apply penggunaan ni apa yang telah diorang pelajari selepas ini. Cikgu juga dia kena fikir apa cara yang terbaik untuk menarik minat pelajar. Macam sekarang kan teknologi paling dekat dengan pelajar, jadi gunakan teknologi itu untuk mengajar pelajar. Dan cikgu juga kena sentiasa bersedia sebab student akan banyak sangat tanya sebab mereka sudah curious dan explore tentang apa yang akan dipelajari sebelum macam suka tanya sebelum kelas macam tu. Tapi dalam masa yang sama juga cikgu ni mesti bagi pendedahan kepada pelajar untuk guna teknologi dengan baik sebab sebagai pengguna internet kita hendaklah sentiasa berhati-hati dan tahu tentang rule ataupun peraturan macam copyright dan sebagainya sebab pelajar ni kadang diorang ambil je apa yang diorang dapat dekat internet tu. Jadi cikgu ni juga kena bantu dari segi itu. Jadi dekat sini role sebagai cikgu ni sangat penting walaupun sekarang kita dah ada dalam era teknologi yang sangat membangun. Macam apa yang doktor dah cakap tadi, robot cannot replace a teacher. Jadi itulah apa yang saya dapat rangkumkan pada seminar kita. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada wakil-wakil peserta yang sudi merangkumkan majlis kita pada hari ini.
Hadirin yang dihormati, sebelum menutup tirai program pada hari ini, pihak majlis dan jawatan kuasa program mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada para hadirin yang sanggup meluangkan masa bersama-sama kami pada hari ini. Sejuta kemaafan juga dipohon sekiranya ada yang terkurang sepanjang kami mengendalikan program ini. Sesungguhnya yang baik itu datangnya dari Yang Maha Esa dan yang kurang adalah kelemahan kami sendiri. Pohon berangan tempat bertemu, girangnya rasa si anak dara. Baliklah tuan membawa ilmu, binalah bangsa, bangunkan negara.
Sebelum mengakhiri program pada hari ini, dengan rasa rendah dirinya, pihak majlis meminta jasa baik para hadirin untuk mengisi borang maklum balas yang disediakan di ruangan chat dan telegram. Pihak majlis juga dengan berbesar hatinya menjemput para hadirin untuk menyertai sesi fotografi. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baiklah semua, dah ready ke? Ya, senyum. 1, 2, 3. Okey. Semua freestyle. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, tukar gaya pula. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, semua terima kasih.
Thank you all. Good job everybody. Thank you, Dr. Azlan.
Okay, thank you Dr. Azhar, thank you the organizer, thank you all the participants.